How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it.
After this interview dropped, a lot of people were critical of Morgan Freeman, stating that he's fighting against his own people or that he's a liar. But that's largely from the people who cut the video in half and didn't see it all. They didn't understand its concept at all.
Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism until...
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man. And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man.
In the interview, the interviewer was looking at Morgan and quote-unquote black people as victims of some sort, so much so that they need a month dedicated to them. But that was not the case at all, and Morgan Freeman was completely right to respond and fight it in the way that he did. Race is more or less a social construct. You could argue that we are different as people, but then do you realize that the races we have in America are not the same as the ones they have in South Africa? This was particularly brought to light to me by the South African artist Tyler, who insisted that she isn't black but that rather she's colored. To an American, that makes no sense, because we see her, she's black, right? But then when you dive into the society of her country, it begins to make sense. Colored were children that were considered a crime at birth, as highlighted by the famous comedian Trevor Noah in his book Born a Crime. Whenever I travel abroad to quote-unquote black majority countries, people there do not see me as a black man, but rather as a man. Yet when I'm in the USA or most European countries, they sometimes address me as a black man, which honestly bothers me. In one country I'm a man, and in another country I'm a black man. And so if race is a social construct, then it can be deconstructed. I think Brazil may be one of the few countries where people are somewhat treated with a level of equality. But I say that out of assumption, as I haven't visited it yet. What's your take? Was Morgan Freeman accurate? Please comment down below.
When Morgan Freeman says stop talking about race, he meant, and he goes on to explain himself, that he was talking about racial profiling and people making assumptions about people based on the color of a person's skin.